It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 8th day of October, 2020. Coming to you, boy, my hair's a mess, isn't it? Coming to you this morning from Central Virginia, right outside of Lynchburg in Bedford County. Kind of a cool morning today, but it's going to be a nice day today. Greetings this morning to Gretchen and Tom, who were both already over in the chat room. And a special greeting to Tom, Tom and his bride currently are somewhere on I-95 as they're going up to Northern Virginia today, up in the DC area. And they are driving along one of the worst roads in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Back in the day when I was doing funnel cakes, I had a contract for, 8-9 years with the Washington Nationals. And I would occasionally, during baseball season, have to run down to my supplier in Richmond. Well, the only way to get from DC to Richmond and back is on I-95. And that's awful. So anyway, Tom and his bride are fighting the traffic heading toward DC this morning from Richmond, and I certainly feel sorry about that. But anyway, Tom said, hello. I hope he's not texting while he's driving. That's my rant for the day. Okay. One thing I just was debating whether to even mention this or not, and I said, well, I'll at least say something about it because a number of you guys have asked me about this or made comments or sent me text or whatever. 3 of the cruise influencers, I don't have a problem with calling them that, have started a show very similar to what Pete and John and I do. I mean, we started the Cruise Amigos back in, I don't know, when did we start it? March, April? I don't know. We've been doing it for quite a while now. But basically, our whole thought was to give folks that couldn't cruise because of the whole health situation an outlet for something good and positive and providing some good content, which we try to do in the cruise and travel space. Well, apparently it appears, at least, now I don't know if that's their intent, that they're copying us. They're not, they can't call it the Cruise Amigos. Because we've got the YouTube channel tied up with that and the Facebook groups and all that, have that name. So that'd be really dumb if they did. But they're calling themselves the 3 Amigos. Well, it seems a little redundant to me, and I would have tried to do something different. And I'm not arrogant enough to think that they're trying to copy what we're doing, because 2 of the 3, Tony and Don, I don't know from Adam. So they may or may not know anything about the Cruise Amigos and me and Pete and John, which is fine. Bruce, however, I know he knows what I do because I have sent him numerous emails and numerous texts and messenger messages on Facebook trying to get him on the Cruise Amigo show. I want to talk to him about the stock market thing that he does, his new channel, as well as cruising. And, he was, before the pandemic, was working on doing group cruises. So I wanted to get him on the show. So, and in my emails that I send out to anybody, it has all kinds of references to the Cruise Amigo show. And I use some of our better guests, our bigger shows, so people can see what we do and how we do it and decide if they want to come on. That's how I keep getting such good quality guests, is because I've been lucky enough to have some really good quality guests for, and people are now wanting to be on our show. So it does point out, however, the one thing that I think is sad is that in this space, if I don't consider myself a cruise influencer, but for lack of a better term, and because I don't have one, I'm not smart enough to come up with that. But in the space of cruise and travel influencers, there's this ungodly mistrust of each other. And so many of the people in this space don't support the other guy. I don't know if they're afraid that you're going to steal their subscribers, or, I mean, because most of us don't actually sell cruises, so we don't make money from selling tickets to get on a boat. Yeah, we all have affiliate marketing and do things like some people sell T-shirts and things. I have, I did Viator stuff in the past. I've done Scoot Around, which if you book through me, I make a little bit of money. But there's just this lack of wanting to support people in this space for some reason, and I don't understand it. I don't agree with it. You get somebody like Emma, our friend Emma. She's been on the Cruise Amigos, 3 times. I interviewed her twice before. She was on before I hooked up with Pete and John. So she's clearly supported me forever. And of course, I support her too. But so many of the guys, they won't give you the time of day, and I don't understand it. There's we've gotten big enough with the Cruise Amigos, especially the London show, where we can help some people. Let our audience go to their stuff too. But I don't. Anyway, so do I care about what Bruce and no, I don't. I'm happy that 3 cruise influencers are doing something together, which is supporting each other in a way. It's sad that it's kind of copied us, and it might, other than Bruce, who I know knows who we are. I don't know if the other guys know us from Adam, so it's not necessarily, I'm not saying they're copying us, but anyway, let's just, so then, you got the Cruise Amigos and you got the 3 Amigos. So anyway, neither here nor there. All right, we do have some news items today. And I suppose the first thing we have to talk about is weather. This storm has been quite a bit different than I expected. If you obviously Hurricane Delta, it's currently a category 2, excuse me. But it's how it's got there is what's been kind of baffling. It was acting exactly like I talked about it acting on Tuesday. As it approached the Yucatan, it strengthened to a strong category 4. I was expecting to go across Yucatan, and then it was going to kind of die and go back to weaken some. Cross the Yucatan and get back into the warmer water of the Gulf and re-strengthen again, and end up coming into the Louisiana coast or the Gulf Coast, because we didn't have it targeted very closely at that point, as a strong 3, possibly a 4. Well, it actually started weakening before it got to the Yucatan. So when it crossed over the Yucatan, it actually dropped back to a 1. And during the night last night, it came back up to a 2. Now the winds and speed have continued to increase today. So it is strengthening again. Will probably become a 3. But I don't think we're going to see 4 again because it dropped down so much. But currently, it's 105 miles an hour. This is as of 11 o'clock, just as we went on the air. The pressure's down to 968, which has continued to drop all morning, which is a sign that it's strengthening. It's still moving pretty rapidly, 14 miles an hour. That's important from the standpoint of once it hits land tomorrow night or possibly Saturday morning, when it actually gets landfall again. By the speed it's going to probably cause some shear, which will add to the weakening quickly. It's going to hit a little bit of cooler water as it gets near the coast as well. But there's still going to be life-threatening storm surge. When it makes landfall on Friday, they're expecting. And a storm surge warning is in effect from High Island, Texas to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. The highest inundation of 7 to 11 feet is expected somewhere between Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge and Port Fortune, Louisiana. Residents in the warning area should promptly follow advice given by local officials. The storm surge risk remains extremely high. So that's the storm surge. Hurricane force winds are expected starting tomorrow and through the evening within the hurricane warning area between High Island, Texas and Morgan City, Louisiana. Most likely, the most likely target now is right back where we were for Laura, a month ago. Lake Charles, give or take a couple miles in either direction. Of course, things could change. I mean, it could bounce back and forth. When it came across Yucatan, shortly thereafter, our friend Reed Timmer, who was one of the folks doing some weather reporting down there for IQ Weather on ABC, followed this report in Cancun. Gives you an idea of what it was like in Cancun.
I'm live in Cancun right now as the eye wall is approaching from the south. This is right near the oceanfront area. Strong wind, unimpeded, coming right off of the ocean right now. Palm trees are blocking the road as well. There's a palm tree action out here. And in fact, we had to push a couple of those palm trees out of the way, just off to the south. The power is out in downtown Cancun right now already, as we're finally starting to get the raft here of Hurricane Delta back. Sustained winds of 115 miles an hour with this storm. A minimal Category 3 here as it's coming in.
Cancun and Cozumel both got hit hard. Those are places all of us have been. Some other pictures from down there. Obviously, a boat turning over, a lot of tree damage, and of course, a lot of structural damage. So they got hit pretty hard. I think probably when Delta gets to the States, it's going to be a lot of wind with this one and still a pretty good amount of rain. Cindy, you guys over in the Texas side of things over near Dallas, I don't think this is going to affect y'all at all. Sunny down in Mississippi, you need to buckle down and watch out, hon. This is going to be kind of nasty for you guys. Even though it's going to go, west of y'all, it's not going to be a direct hit, but you're going to get a lot of wind. You're on the dirty side of the storm, so you're going to get a lot of wind and a lot of rain. A good bit of that band through Louisiana. Northward is going to be, upwards to a foot of rain in an area that's already just, God, it's awful with the amount of rain and stuff you've had. This is the sixth storm, the sixth hurricane to hit the Gulf Coast this year. It's the 10th named storm to have landfall in the U.S. this year. Both are records, by the way. So, this is not going to be as bad as I first thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty serious. And the storm is getting bigger. It's getting much wider. It was at first a compact little storm, even though it's going to be pretty strong, but now it's getting a lot wider. So there's going to be a lot more area affected. So you guys buckle down. It's not going to be the greatest weather for a while. Even you guys over in Florida are going to get some rain out of this for the next couple of days. Probably Bonnie down there, even as far down as she is going to feel some of it. Nikki up there around Jacksonville, you guys are going to get some rain from this too. So it's just not going to be the greatest weather in the world down in the southeastern part of the country for a while. All right. Several of the cruise lines this week have done things. Carnival, of course. Carnival Cruise Line continues to hold out on cruising in the month of November. And I think that's terrific. I still have problems with the whole pandemic episodes that we have going on. And I'm not entirely sure that it's the safest thing in the world to cruise right now. I think it's once you get on the cruise ship, things are going to be fine. I do believe the cruise ships are way, way ahead of where we used to be. I still have my problems would be getting there. But anyway, that Carnival is still planning on cruising. Norwegian, of course, they announced that they've canceled all of their scheduled November sailings, and there were 3 ships that are canceled into next year. We were talking about Royal Caribbean. Well, Royal Caribbean, since we were on the air on Tuesday, finally said that they will not sail until at least December 1st. So they've wiped out November now, as has most everybody else. MSC, MSC, that's a picture of one of my favorite bartenders on MSC, but MSC Cruises, which currently has 3 U.S.-based ships, announced yesterday that it's made the difficult decision to extend its temporary halt of operations through and including November 30th. Of course, MSC is successfully sailing in Europe, as we all know about. Azamara, which is part of Royal Caribbean, will not resume cruises until March of 2021. The cruise line's 3 ships will be back in service, all 3 of them, by May of 2021. So that's a little bit longer than we thought. Here's one that's kind of interesting, and this is something that a company that I know very little about. Regent 7 Seas, which is one of the world's finest luxury cruise lines, has extended their popular Elevate Your Experience promotion through October 31st, which includes free first-class airfare for cruises. They sell all over the world, but in the States, they have cruises from New York and Miami, plus an Alaska sailing season from Vancouver to Anchorage, back and forth. So that's Regent 7 Seas. Now they're expensive, folks. They're not your everyday ordinary cruise line, so they tend to be a little expensive. But free first class air, that's pretty sweet, I think. Dream Cruises. Again, we've mentioned them in the past, but we don't talk about them much because we don't I don't have many people over there in the Orient, but Dream Cruises has carried more than 25,000 passengers safely on Explorer Dream in Taiwan since July, when it began sailing after the pandemic shutdown, from sailing to Singapore. They offer 2- and 3-night cruises for the local market. So they've had 25,000 guests now and no problems. So it just shows you how much the cruise companies are, they're into the ones that are taking this seriously. The majors they're into this. They're doing it right. MSC and Costa continue to work with no problems whatsoever. The other thing that I wanted to point out this morning, and some of you may have known this, I did not know it. When we were talking about Norwegian, of course, a lot of us that are cruise solo, cruise with Norwegian because of the majors. They're the ones that have the best deal for solo travelers, and they have, the solo cabins, and they have meet and greets for the solo travelers, and they make you feel like you want to be there. The Norwegian CEO, Frank Del Rio, who, by the way, he just signed a new contract for I don't know how many bazillion dollars. I think they added it on for 3 years, 3 more years on his contract. But he first came to the U.S. when he was 6 years old. He was born in Havana, Cuba. I did not know that, where his father worked for the Coca-Cola Company. On August 22nd, 1961, the young family escaped Cuba by flying to Jamaica, then to Miami, before settling in Connecticut. I think it would be fascinating to interview CEO Frank Del Rio, which I have, needless to say. I'm, the shy, quiet one. I sent him an email to see if I could get him on the Cruise Amigos. I think it would be a fascinating interview, number one, just a biographical interview. Don't even have to talk about cruises unless he wants to, but just to find out something more about his life, and something that I'm going to work on a little bit, even if I can't interview him. So maybe you'll hear something more about Mr. Del Rio in the future from the old fat guy. So that's it on this news side of things this morning, guys. No news from the CDC yet. I keep hoping that they're going to come out with something earth-shattering on cruising in the U.S., but nothing down there yet. So let's go see who's with us other than Gretchen and Tom Henry. Nikki's with us. Hey, Nikki, good to see you again. Amy's with us. Hi, Amy. How you doing up there in the up north? Jason is with us from Pittsburgh, of course. And Nikki says, how everybody, son, he's with us down there in Mississippi. Nikki says it's 84, feels like 93, and Roger is out cleaning the pool filter. Well, good for Roger. I'm glad to see you doing some work for a change, Roger. I made my niece clean the pool filter all year. It's amazing. When anytime the pool got dirty, I had some kind of ache or pain that I could get Amanda to go do it. Roger, you need a pool girl. Built-in house. Anyway, by the way, they did close the pool. The pool is now done for the year. So it's got its new cover on it. And no, I haven't been out there to take a picture of the new cover. Maybe we'll get some nice weather. Maybe I'll do that one day. Try to do a show from out there again, maybe. I don't know. I always worry about it's just on the edge of where I get a signal. So I worry about having a crappy Wi-Fi out there. Anyway, Sonny says, Nikki, hot, hot, hot. No fun humidity. That's correct. Tom Henry, how did you feel about the 3 amigos? I didn't, by the way, Jason, I did not watch it. So I don't know what they did or how they did it or what the purpose was. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to keep doing what we do no matter what. So I hope the weatherman gets combat pay. They probably need it. It's amazing that, rarely do they ever consistently get it right, which brings me up to another subject. And I was another one of my messages I sent out this morning, and I'll get myself in trouble, which is normal. I do this quite often where I get in trouble. But Stephanie Abrams is one of the Weather Channel girls. I love to death. I think Stephanie's fabulous. And she's one of the guys that gets out in the field when the hurricanes or the storms are out, and she's out there sloshing around in the water and the rain and the wind and let the beat her to death. Which some of that I think is ridiculous, but I understand why they do it. But anyway, she's out again this morning. There's just Jim and the whole crew, they're all in place, ready for the storm to come ashore tomorrow. And when Stephanie's in the studio, of course, she dresses to the nines like the girls in the studio do. I'd a whole lot rather see Stephanie in her uniform, where she's out like in the water. She's got on slacks and her Weather Channel shirt. Hell, just wear the same thing all the time. You don't have to dress up like you're going to a formal dance to do the Weather Channel. I don't know why they do that. Well, I do, because some of them stay in studio, so they always look nice. I think it's silly. I think somebody like Steffi, who obviously is comfortable out in the world, and dressed in working clothes when she's out in the middle of the weather, do that in the studio. You look fine as far as looking goes, I think. But anyway, that's me. So I'll get in trouble for saying something politically incorrect to somebody like Stephanie, but that's okay. Sonny says they'll get the wind too. Yeah, it's going to be a windy. There's going to be a lot of wind with this one. More rain than you think, but definitely a lot of wind. But it's going to move quickly. That's the thing that's going to be nice about this one. This sucker's going to get the hell out of your hair in a hurry once it gets there. Jason might get some rain in a few days. Yeah, it looks like it's going to head up through Tennessee again, Louisville, and end up bending around, coming right toward Pittsburgh. So, yeah, you could actually get some rain from this one Sunday, Monday up there, Jason. Cruise ship is a bubble. The NBA did it. Yeah, well, they did. Gretchen would love to see that interview. Yeah, so would I. Hi, Emily. Emily's with us. Emily, I don't have anything to fuss at Emily about today. Boy, that's unusual. Usually I'll create something if I don't have anything on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, hi, Emily. Let's see. Everybody's saying hello. It's a woman thing, Chillie. Yeah, I know, because they want to look nice. I understand that. I just happen to think that she looks just as nice, just like she is today, as opposed to, in a dress. And I don't know, you guys do all those things with pantyhose and girdles and whatever. I'm not going there. Anyway, be comfortable. I am. Notice I don't wear a suit and tie. I gave that. For 30 years, I wore a suit and tie every day. Done. Now I don't even wear a suit and tie to a funeral. Jordan's with us. Hey, Jordan, good to see you again. What's up on Hurricane Delta? Yes. This has been such strange storms this year. They just do things that you don't expect. And of course, there's been a lot of them. Goodness gracious. This is the 10th landfall hurricane in the U.S. this year, which is a record, and the 6th one on the Gulf Coast. And amazingly, New Orleans, which they all aim at New Orleans, hasn't been hit. Yeah, it's been, outlying, outer bands and stuff. But New Orleans hadn't taken a hit this year, which is amazing, with 6 storms coming right in the general area. So anyway, well, Tom Henry, I hope you're driving safely up there on I-95 and you stay out of trouble. And that's going to wrap me up today, folks. By the way, I don't even think I mentioned this, but the knee is better. I told Gretchen that on the chat earlier. The knee is better, guys, in case you missed the comment. The treatment on the knee is obviously working. The therapy on the knee, while I'm still way out of shape for doing therapy, but that is helping. The back issues, which were probably kicked off because of the therapy on the knee, is still problematic. I'm still sore. Having to be very careful with my movement. I can't do anything at this point for long periods like sitting. Yes, I can sit for a little bit, but not for long. It's still very painful to go from sitting to standing and standing to sitting, or from sitting to laying down and laying down back up to sitting. Any of those movements of change of position it's painful as hell. That's awful. So I've got my magic cream that my doctor created that I rub on it, which it's got to be like John's pot farm up there in Minnesota. You know, he makes that pot juice that he rubs on his bald spot or whatever he does with it. I've got some kind of cream that I rub in my back. And obviously, so I take Tylenol and ibuprofen. And so we call it 2 and 2s here in this household because that seems to make it stronger when you take 2 of each. And that's what I'm using for pain control. I haven't even used any bourbon yet on this time, which is unusual for me because normally, I'm always looking for an excuse to drink bourbon. And I haven't even done that this time. So just noticing there's not been any new comments for some time. Wait a minute. I see some over here. Oh, there it finally moved. Okay. On my computer. Oh, Emily was, Emily's on her computer. She must have had some issues. And I wasn't getting any new chats in, so I thought maybe I was frozen up here. But anyway, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. I'll be back on Saturday. By the way, if you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. As you can tell, we do travel and cruise industry news Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock. We also have post videos. I do live streams on various facets of the travel and cruise industry. Please hit the subscribe button so you'll know when we go live or when a new video is posted. And if something major happens between now and when we meet again on Saturday, I'll immediately go live with live updates. So we try to keep everybody informed on what's going on in the travel and cruise industry world. So make sure you give us thumbs up if you like what we're doing. Thumbs down if you don't. I don't care which way you go. Tina Turtle back there in the background. Tina likes the thumbs up. She's a big fan of the thumbs up, by the way. And other than that, please hit the subscribe button. The bell notification tells you when I'm doing all this crazy stuff. Other than that, guys, have a great day. If you're in the storm path, be careful down there, folks. And as always, wear your mask. Socially distance, stay away from people as much as you can, and stay safe and stay healthy. And one day we'll be back to cruising again, I promise. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time on Travel and Cruise Industry News. Later, guys.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.